All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, September 14th, 2023. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, doing the video a little early today. Just getting ready for the live stream at 4 for members, our members weekly stream. Additionally, I don't really see a ton going on here by the end of the day here. A lot to unpack. So we did have the the PPI number, and that came in significantly hotter than expected. Remember yesterday I said, the CPI came in hot, but it wasn't really that out of line. PPI was definitely out of line. And jobless claims also coming in less so than expected, which again is also a hot number. It was 220 versus 226 expected. So why is the market up? I am seeing a lot of complaining. I'm seeing a lot of bitching. I'm seeing a lot of people trying to dissect this. I'm seeing a lot of people with head scratching their head. I'll save you a lot of time, and I've been tweeting about this all day, but I still think people are kind of confused. It's the gamma, stupid. It's not a coincidence that we're sitting right around 4,500. It's not a coincidence that we came up to 45.05 and we stalled out right in this area. I do have a level, one more 0DT level at 45.10, so that could get hit by the end of the day. They are kind of pumping it up a little bit through the deep in the money at 44.95, but look, let's not make a ton out of it, guys. It's quarterly OPEX. I see a lot of people trying to unpack this move. Oh, this, that, the other thing. It's just the gamma, okay? That's all it is. We are above this little pivot here, which is at 44.90, and on the spiders, I talked about this, 448.51. So that is above that, and I said intraday resistance be around 450, and look where we are. I mean, 450 and change right there. Tomorrow, yeah, we could get up into this area. If we gap up, I think it's a good mean reversion play for tomorrow. My guess is we do gap up tomorrow, and I think we close the week right at 4,500. That's what I think. If we do really fade for some reason, I would say 44.50 is like your max downsides. That would be a pretty big fade, though. That's way down there. Remember, also the SPY has X dividend tomorrow, so that will be down more than the SPX. So take a look at it. Make sure we're watching SPX. For kind of like the true move. All that said, so it is the gamma. If we look at the Qs, a decent day, but there are some red flags here. And that's why I'm seeing so many people pissed off on Twitter. One thing to watch, look at utilities. Up 1.25%, up 1.25%, versus the SPY up just under 1, and the Qs up the same. Russell 1.5, but that's been beaten up lately, and the Dow up 1. XLU's been outperforming SPY here for the last week or so. That's generally a risk-off signal. Again, that's just one thing. But if we look at the other things, like the rest of the market here, yields, 10-year, I mean, that looks like it wants to break out. So is the 30. And if we flip over to the DXY, this is, there's the 2-year. That's hammering here, but look at the dollar today. 105.50. I've been telling you guys this should go to 106. This is just surging here. It's at the highs of the day right now. So the dollar is acting really well, and it looks like it's respecting the PPI number. Why is the market not doing it? Like I said, it's probably just the gamma. They want 4,500. Additionally, you've got the ARM IPO. They're not going to just blow the market up ahead of that, right? This is just the way things work here. There's ARM today. Most anticipated IPO of the year. They probably want the market up. So could it be an opportunity for some arbitrage here for mispricing? Could you get a possible short off? It's certainly possible. I think we may revert tomorrow, especially if we gap up. That's kind of my take on it. So we'll see. Tomorrow we get up into this area. Especially if we gap up, I think you could get a fade. That's kind of my lean right now. And assuming the dollar stays strong, and assuming yields continue to stay strong, they look really good. Yields, like I talk about them every day here, that's not a bear pattern. No matter what the financial media tries to sell you, that's not a bear pattern. That is not a bear pattern, and that's not a bear pattern either. So this is a bear pattern though on the 2-year note. The 2-year yield, again, not a bear pattern. So maybe some arbitrage opportunity here. But bottom line, markets are holding up today. probably get to 45.10, and that'd probably be the cap by the end of the day. That's my guess. I could be wrong in the next hour, but I don't really see it changing. Triple Qs here. Again, 380 should be the cap for tomorrow. We'll see how that plays out there. Again, watch this trend line. We can extend that out a little bit right into that area. Kind of parallel to this bigger one, or at least kind of close to parallel. So if that breaks, again, it takes you down there, and that's not changed. I don't believe there's anything to say otherwise. Russell getting a nice little bid here today. KRE banks are up. Again, that's generally going to be the case if regional banks are higher. Again, still looking at this possible head and shoulders is not triggered yet. But if you put in a lower high and come down one more time, I think that can break, and that could take you down to 175 on the Russell. So just be aware of that. Dow here, again, hammering on the 350 area, 351. Again, same kind of look as the spiders, got that pivot to get through, and then there is still some supply up here. But you do have a higher low, so the Dow's holding up. Again, just still stuck in this range until proven otherwise. Semiconductors day up 0.5%. Not a strong pattern though, right? Down move inside of this red bar, gap down, and we've just gone sideways. So you can make a case this is consolidating for another push down into this trend line, into the 100 moving average, into the 145 handle. So I'm kind of favoring that right now. Again, I don't think it happens tomorrow. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen next week. After OPEX is over, that's kind of when all bets are off. Remember, we do have the FOMC next week too, and the Fed's certainly going to look at these numbers. And I mean, the market's just kind of like shoveling shit in the Fed's face right now, right? I mean, so we had all this hot inflation data, and the spiders are just rallying. So we'll see how that works out. But SMH, those are the levels we're watching. On the upside, 155 gap fill, 154.76. IGV holding up, again, coming off the lows up, basically at the highs of the day. We do have that big dump on Oracle the other day, but again, it's still holding trend, so that is still a strong sector. Let's take a look at Oracle, getting a nice bounce off that level there, but a lot of chart damage though with that big gap down, but nice bounce there for Oracle and the IGV. Dow Transports, this looks like a dead cat to me also. Kind of a spinning top setup here. It is up 1%, but kind of a spinning top look there so far. On a day where the spiders are having a really strong day, Q's having a strong day, and they are both up 1%, but I would want the Dow Transports up more than that. I want to see them leading as opposed to just kind of tagging along. Again, hitting that 100 MA, this looks like it wants to put in a lower high, potentially at 15.5, 15.6, and that could take you down. I mean, we already got close to 15,000. You might even, 14,750 might even be on the table if we put in a lower high there with that daily 200 moving average. If we look at the weekly, you can see the 50 and 100 week moving average coinciding with that green bar there, and then below that, 14.5 would be a big level on the DJT if we were to get down there. Interest rates we already talked about a little bit, but they're strong. The 2-year, if this breaks above this pivot high, the market's going to panic. It's really just the way that the market works here. So, but it's been capped for now, so we'll leave it at that. XHB up 1.19. Again, let's not make a whole lot out of it, just kind of stalling at the 20. I still think this wants to have one more push down, but there still is a lot of support at 78, so just be aware of that. But again, XHB bouncing, VNQ here up 2%. Nice outside move there. We'll watch that into tomorrow. Again, I think this mean reverts by tomorrow as well, but again, 83 and 84 is still resistance, and 78 is still support. XLF getting a bid here. KBWB also getting a bid, but still not a great pattern. Just kind of like chopping in this lower range here. I don't like this look I'm getting from fins right now. KBE, a little bit of a bounce, not leading the market. KRE up 1.82. That's not leading the market either. I think these are vulnerable if the market does have one more push lower. And broker dealers here closing in on the 510 level. You do have a higher low there with kind of an equal high, so that's hanging in there okay. And I'll say near term it can get to about 515 if it gets through 510. Crude, so that's another big storyline today. Closed the COMEX just now above $90. You got to go all the way back to November 4th. And again, this is another thing. It's respecting the PPI. And the market's just like acting like it doesn't care. Again, I think it's just 0DT gamma. It's quarterly OPEX. So got to take these things with a grain of salt. But crude is respecting this move. It is extended. It is overbought. But it matters here, right? Like this is higher input costs for everything, and this is the base case that I laid out months ago, is that inflation would be sticky, and it looks like it is. But crude up 2% again, having a nice day. XLE holding up well, up 1.2. Again, I don't see any reason why it can't get to double top. I just wouldn't, I wouldn't advise buying it here because you're so close to you're closer to resistance than you are to support. I'd like a correction in these energy names, but they've had a nice run. XOP is a little bit better. That's just consolidating there, no problems. OIH, nice up move after the big reversal yesterday. So that's holding up. Maybe that wants 365, 370. And we basically kissed that 100-month moving average. Nothing to say we don't pierce a little bit more. There's a little bit of a pivot right there, 373.6. So that's holding up. CCJ was down earlier, continuing to go parabolic. This is kind of getting into FOMO territory, though, at least in the near term. Look at URNM. That is a little crazy there, right? Up 3.5, coming off the highs on volume. That may be trying to put in a little bit of a top here. You're parabolic. Again, I'm not saying it can't go higher, but when I look at the bigger time frames here, you're going into this red bar. You're parabolic here. You're very extended on the weekly. So I wouldn't advise opening up fresh positions. I would look to harvest gains or trail stops if you own this. Nat gas here, a little bit of a pause day. Actually, I know it's up. It's green on the COMEX. Futures are slightly flat to lower. Nothing going on here. One thing I'm watching though is this little wedge pattern. We did have the inventory number today. Came in a little hotter, slightly bigger build than expected, but market not really doing a whole lot. It did come off the highs after that. But again, little wedge pattern there. And again, the bigger dominant pattern is this one, which is a big ascending triangle. Dollar we already talked about. But again, that should get to 106, maybe 106.50. I was really miffed about this. I was looking to buy calls yesterday. I was actually looking to buy calls on Wednesday if we gapped down on CPI. And never really got the chance, and now those calls are up like 50%. But either way, sometimes it's the way the market works. But yeah, it should get to 106 and then maybe even 106.50. So dollar's still strong. Again, like I said, market's defying that right now. We'll see who's lying. All right, gold here down $2. Again, it's holding up with a strong dollar. So I'll say gold's hanging in there really well. I still think that it needs to go test 1900. That's just me. You can make a case you have a little wedge here too on the futures. So watching that, it breaks to the downside, it's going to 1900. On the upside, it can go to 2000. Nothing's changed. Silver, a little bit on the weaker side again, but did come nicely off the lows. So I think some of my members day traded this in our Discord, right here actually on that Pierce of 2275. And yeah, not a terrible trade, even that little RSI divergence on the 4-hour. Bullish divergence into a support level, and it got a bounce there. It came off the lows. I still think this is going lower. And, maybe it'll do for a little bit of a bounce, which we're getting right now. But yeah, it came off the lows, so we'll leave it at that, not make too much out of it. Platinum, I still think that has to go lower. Palladium, same thing. And then copper here up 62 basis points right now. Not terrible little pattern there for copper if that can consolidate. What I think I said 386 yesterday. We'll see if this can consolidate more. If it does, then I may upgrade that to 390 again. But you got some higher lows, so that's okay. But yeah, copper's hanging in there. Let's see if there's a little wedge, possibly, maybe something like that. Maybe even here. Who knows? We'll see. But either way, copper getting a little bit of bounce. Again, we'll leave that alone. Bitcoin is green. So again, getting a nice bounce. I like how it tested, kind of got some shorts on board, took some stops out, and then we had a nice little pop, 1, 2, 3 bid there. I don't know what it wants to do here. Upside, I'll say 27.5, 28 maybe. Those moving averages in there will probably be good resistance. But again, if this consolidates further on the weekly, it could be bearish. So just be aware of that. But I don't have a real bias on it right now. Short term, I'd give it the upside bias to 27.5 potentially, but that's about it. I don't have a ton of conviction behind that. All right, anyways, lastly, let's go check on the spiders here. We got about 50 minutes left. Again, there's 45.10. So getting a little bit of a pop. I do think we close right in that area. So let's see. Yeah, I think probably right around 45.10 today, maybe slightly below it. And then tomorrow, you know, honestly, I think if you gap up, it's a good mean reversion trade to 4,500. And that's it. And we'll leave it at that. Ready for this week to be over. Remember, spiders have the dividend tomorrow. And then, of course, the all-important FOMC is next week. So that will be very, we should get a lot more whipsaw and a lot more meaningful moves once OPEX is over here. But right now, again, let's take everything with a grain of salt. But don't forget about the utilities. Don't forget about the dollar, oil, and yields. So they are showing a few warning signs right now. Anyways, guys, gonna wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow.